It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change your attitude, change your life. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. You're listening to us in your neighborhood, from coast to coast, and around the world. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Joan Herman, author, speaker, and your host. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life brings you interviews with some of the most inspirational and influential people in the world. It's our goal to educate and empower you so you can live your best life now. Thank you for taking time for yourself, and thank you for letting us be a part of your life. We have another great show for you today. Joining me is attorney Lisa Green, who is here to discuss some of the legal tools that are necessary in order to protect yourself, your assets, your family, and your career. According to Lisa, very little advice is provided about the simple legal tools that can improve lives and protect families. Lisa is a legal analyst who appears on NBC News and MSNBC. She is the author of the new book, On Your Case, a comprehensive, compassionate legal guide for every stage of a woman's life. Lisa, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Lisa, your book, On Your Case, Judge Judy says that your book should be on every woman's bookshelf. Why? What do you believe most women will encounter during their lifetime for which they are unprepared?
Well, it's hard to imagine a better endorsement, and I was really glad that I could find a fellow traveler for my proposition, which is that women are often these days incredibly prepared for health issues, fitness issues, raising children, caring for parents. We tend carefully to our personal finances, our checkups, our exercise plans. But when it comes to law, there seems to be a giant black hole. And time again, women and men find themselves behind the eight ball, thrust into a situation where a lawyer might be necessary, absolutely ignorant about what to do. In On Your Case, I try to lay out a roadmap, an introduction to areas of law likely to intersect with your life so that when things happen to you, or even before things happen to you, you've got some clue about how to proceed. I'm on a one-woman campaign to get women to see the law not as a scary, Latin, overpriced burden to be avoided at all costs, but as rather a mechanism that allows you to take better care of yourself and your family, almost a security blanket.
Well, in your book, you wrote that most women, for whatever reason, we just seem to think that we're never going to be touched by these things, and I'm just as guilty of that. So let's begin with the essentials. In general, what are the most important documents that every person, man or woman, should have?
Starting backwards, I think every adult should strongly consider making a will, but also at the same time looking into two other documents. One is called a power of attorney. That grants someone else who doesn't need to be an attorney the power and authority to take care of matters financial and other things if you're incapacitated. The third document is generally called a healthcare proxy. It has a different name in some states. And again, you're laying out a roadmap for your loved ones to look after you in case you're incapacitated. Now, I know this topic does not win the Fun Award, but you don't get to choose when and if you find yourself in a situation where you've left your loved ones absolutely clueless about your intention. And if you've ever been in the situation where you're trying to figure out after the fact what a family member might want you to do, it's agonizing. By spending a little bit of time with a lawyer, laying out these documents, signing them, and then, this is important, telling people where they are and what they say, you can save your family tremendous grief and really be an agent of positive help to the people you care about most.
Lisa, with the internet, we all tend to think that we're experts about everything, and there are those do-it-yourselfers out there. So is it wise to do these documents on your own with templates that you can find online?
You know, the answer is sort of mixed. I think it's better than nothing, but people need to be aware that forms law is state specific. So, woe betide someone living in Kansas who uses a California set of forms. And then if they were to go to a court, a judge would say, well, these are wholly inappropriate and they can't be adhered to. So this could be one of those times where checking with your state bar association or asking your friends for a moderately priced lawyer, especially if you go into a meeting with a clear idea of what you want to accomplish, could be a good investment, because then you can be absolutely sure that what you've got are appropriate documents in your state that are going to hold up in the case of a challenge. And, I know people think of spending money on lawyers as, kind of low on the priority scale, but you're investing in a professional's time and you get professional results.
Lisa, you write about a variety of topics in your book, and I want to just select a few of the biggies, and maybe we can touch upon a few of these. So the first one, with 1 in 2 marriages ending in divorce today, what are some ways that women can protect themselves in case they become a statistic?
Prenups are very well known in society and well dreaded, right? But they are absolutely a very useful way for couples to plan for the possibility that their marriage won't work out. But I want to say that, people really get stuck on prenups. They think they're anti-romantic and somehow will, hasten the dissolution of a marriage. I don't think that's right. But demographic trends in our country actually point to 2 places where couples would really want to think about writing down some guidelines in the event of problems. And one area is cohabitating. We live in a country where that's more common than ever. People live together instead of marriage. They have children together without getting married. I think those couples who don't have the protection that marriage provides are especially vulnerable and should think very hard about what some people call a no-nup, a cohabitation agreement that would lay out what would happen if you split up. If you buy things together, if you buy things on credit together, if you sign a lease, those sort of decisions. The second area, also on the rise, also where law can help, is if someone's remarrying. And that's an increasingly common event. People who get married, doesn't work out, they want to give it another try. We got to root for them, right? Mm-hmm. But in a second marriage, if there are children from a first marriage, if there are assets from a first marriage, if the couple has unequal savings, businesses, it really makes sense to protect everyone's place with a prenup. And I think what it also does emotionally is it helps existing family members calm down a little bit about the uncertainty that's inevitable when a new person enters the family.
Now, what about online dating? This is the way that people are meeting one another these days. What are some important considerations regarding this growing practice?
Yeah, I think the thing about online dating and the law is dating sites are terrific, and, who wouldn't at least give them a try just to increase the field of prospective candidates, right, if you're looking for someone to spend time with. But if you look at the fine print at those websites, what you see is something that makes perfect sense. They pretty much distance themselves from any liability in case a date goes wrong. Once in a while, you can find a disgruntled suitor who sues the website and says, you fixed me up with someone inappropriate, or even in severe cases, someone who was violent. But the websites disclaim any responsibility, so you are a dater beware person. You just need to keep your wits about you. And the book lists some security tips that I just think are good practice for anyone who's meeting a stranger for the first time.
Now, I have to tell you, Lisa, one of the things that you wrote about in the book regarding a local criminal defense attorney for mothers of teens, as the mother of 2 sons, this was like a knife in the heart. So why do you say that mothers of teens should identify a local criminal defense lawyer and carry that contact information everywhere?
Well, are your sons teenagers?
They are.
Yeah, so they're teens. I'm going to assume they're good kids because
Yes.
You sound like someone who's a wonderful mother. But I think you know this. Mm-hmm. Even good kids find themselves in fraught situations. And I have 2 extraordinary young adult children, no longer children, who led solid lives, got into great colleges. But now they tell me stories about their teen years. And you know what? They're a little fraught because a zig could be a zag, and you get a phone call from a very well-behaved child who says, the police are here at this party. And I am telling you, you will not know what to do. But if you have in the back of your phone the name of someone who could provide you the quick advice you would need, I think you're going to be better off. I will tell you also, in the course of reporting this book, I've met a couple who've started a business. They also have a wonderful son who encountered authorities in college. And they've started a business called, I think, Student Defend. And what you can do as the parent of a college student is pay a reasonable fee, I think it's $59 a year, and have access to a lawyer in the state where your son or daughter goes to college in the event that something goes wrong. I think it is wearing blinders to assume that any teenager is going to be guaranteed not to have an encounter with authorities, whether it's school officials or even the police in the course of growing up. There's just too big a gap between their ability to make mischief and the size of their brain's judgment, category. And that's why I think, and many mothers agree with me, that this is another prospective protection that you would think of along with making sure your child is properly tutored, making sure your child chooses colleges that are appropriate for his endeavors, making sure your child's properly immunized. I would add law to the mix here, and I feel really strongly about it.
Well, I was joking about it, but it really is sage advice, because when you are thrust into situations, you don't think clearly, as you said, in whether it be a medical situation or a breakup or a child getting into trouble. It is always good to err on the side of safety and have this information ready so that you're putting it together when you're thinking clearly, so it's ready for when you do need it. I want to talk about, Lisa, another area of our lives, and this is social media. Everyone in one shape or one form or another is involved in Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn or posting and commenting and so forth. What are some common legal issues regarding privacy and copyright infringement? Are people breaking the law now on a regular basis?
I think we live in an age of excessive sharing. The excessive is my editorializing, and sharing I don't think can be disputed. And what people forget about social media sometimes, I think, is it's so casual, is that the same laws that apply to other forms of publication back in the day where only newspapers could opine about one thing or another, and if you didn't have a job at a newspaper, you couldn't share how you felt about a restaurant or your neighbors or politics. And now we're all publishers, but we're all subject to the same rules that publishers are. So here's an example. Many of us take to Yelp or sites like Yelp to opine about an event or a service we've had, or to check out what other people think. And that's wonderful. It's really revolutionized our ability to find providers for all sorts of services. But if you decide that you're going to demonize someone with a 0-star or 1-star Yelp review, and you say something that's false and reputation harming about the business, you could be sued for defamation and you could lose. So the web doesn't immunize you from the same rules that govern other forms of life. The law immunizes websites sometimes. It's a little technical, but the rest of us, if you're reposting material without permission and the person who owns the copyright in that material feels that you're infringing on that copyright, you have violated copyright law, just as if you would have if you made a poster and tried to sell it on the street. It's very fact specific, but people should just be aware that it's not the Wild West. You can't do anything you want. Even under the guise of anonymity, an aggrieved business owner could try to find you and sue you. It can happen.
And that also would go for people who are sharing other people's photos all the time and posting pictures of other people without their permission. And especially our children, they can really get into trouble doing that, can't they?
Well, it really depends. It's very specific, forgive me, to the situation. In America, generally, it's okay to take pictures of people in public places. And if you shoot a photograph, almost always, you're the owner of the copyright. So it isn't necessarily illegal to post photos of children, but obviously where you start to get into major trouble, serious issues, is inappropriate photographs of children. And in the book, I talk about this subset of that, which is the awful tendency teenagers have to take naked photos of themselves and share them. And of course, if you do that, your teen could be subject to child pornography laws, and those are quite severe.
And I would assume that because this area is evolving, that laws will be changing frequently, I would think.
I think a lot of lawmakers really feel strongly, and it's politically expedient, to create very harsh laws about things like posting nude photos, also bullying online, sexting, and a lot of really nasty behaviors that the web, encourages. But sometimes the law doesn't help a parent whose child is victimized as firmly and as with the finality that parents want. And I talk about that in the book too. The law can do a lot, but sometimes it can't do everything to protect your kids. That said, once again, being aware of available law allows you to use the law as a resource when it's available, and that can make a big difference in your kid's life.
Lisa, is there anything else that you want to mention that I didn't bring up?
I would just mention that if women could begin to reframe their relationship with the law, stop thinking about it as an off-putting, written in Latin, overpriced, wholly unnecessary topic, and start thinking about it kind of the way they think about going to spin class or drinking healthful smoothies or putting money in their retirement account, just as another resource to lead a healthier, happier, safer life, I would feel like my work's been done.
The book is On Your Case, a comprehensive, compassionate legal guide for every stage of a woman's life by Lisa Green. If you would like more information, you can visit her website, lisagreenlaw.com. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today. After reading your book, and I like to believe I'm an intelligent woman, after reading your book, I realize that I am inadequately prepared for so many things in life. So thank you for enlightening me, and hopefully this information will change other people's lives as well. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back. Hi, this is Joan Herman, host of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Did you know that Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life has a free monthly digital magazine that can be read online or emailed to your inbox? Every month, nationally recognized leaders in their field provide information to educate, inspire, and motivate you. We believe in a holistic approach to life, incorporating mind, body, and spirit. Check out a copy of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life 24/7. Visit cyacyl.com and be sure to tell your friends. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you found the show informative. At Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life, we believe that knowledge is power. Take what you've learned, apply it, and live your best life now. Remember that the information provided are the opinions of our guests and should never replace the advice of a professional who knows your personal situation. If you'd like more information, visit our website, cyacyl.com. That stands for Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. While on the site, listen to past shows on demand, read the digital magazine, and be sure to follow the show on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, this is Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.